Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Vin Man Show. I'm the Vin Man. Hey, today I'm just going to jump right into it and tell you, um, we're only here for a certain amount of time, and when you get a little older, you kind of like to give back. We've gotten so much, we kind of like to give back to the community. And, some people, give blood. Um, I don't like to give blood anymore, so I've given enough blood. So they've taken enough of my blood in the hospitals, let alone me giving more out. But um, uh, as you get older, you think about doing community work, and the Boy Scout motto is, we should leave this place nicer than we found it. That means nicer than we found it. Make improvements on it. And I was thinking along those lines, uh, and so actually my wife and I, we came up with a thing we were going to do. We were going to raise guide dogs for the blind, which was great. It was something that we could do and give back to the community, and it was good for us, and it was good for the blind people, of course. And uh, so this episode, I'm going to tell you about guide dogs for the blind. It's amazing when you're raising a guide dog. You get these little. Actually, we were puppy raisers. We didn't do the training of them. Actually, we raise them from a puppy till they're about a year and a half old. Then we got to give them back, and then they actually go to college. It's kind of like I call it college to where they learn how to work with the blind people. But our job is to turn them into the perfect dog, to where they sit and heel and don't take food out of your hand, and you turn them into a very obedient dog. And anyways, when you're raising these puppies, you're supposed to take them everywhere, which is great. It's because they get these little coats that say guide dog puppy in training. And I don't know if you've ever seen one along the street, but when you do, you don't see them very often. It's like lightning striking now. When I was growing up, I think I used to see a few more than I do now. But anyway, they wanted us to take them everywhere, so we'd take them to restaurants, we'd take them on the airplane, take them to the stores, and just everywhere. And it was great. And I did find out, though, that, when you have a guide dog, boy, everybody wants to talk to you. I mean, it's kind of almost makes you like, now I know how celebrities feel. Hey, there's Brad Pitt. Well, I want to go talk to him, maybe get his autograph. Well, that's kind of when you have a guide dog puppy. Well, puppies are chick magnets anyway. So you guys, if you want to meet a chick, raise a guide dog puppy. All the girls want to come over and pet the dog and talk to you, and they all want to bring their kids over and have you explain, what the program's about, and so when you're having dinner, you're probably interrupted 3 or 4 times. You're sitting there eating, and somebody comes up and say, "Oh, this is a guide dog puppy in training." I go, "Yes. Can we pet him?" I go, "Well, okay." And then then of course they start asking questions. How did you get into this? And then of course their big question is how can you give them up at the end? I mean, you know, and I, and that is a good question. And that's the hard one. That's the hard part. Here you raise this dog from a puppy, and it's like a kid, and they're just very good dogs, and and then at the end of a year and a half, you got to give them up, which is very, very hard. And that's what their question is how can you give them up after a year and a half? And of course, my standard answer is, well, you got to look at the big picture. The blind person needs a guide dog. I'm doing community work by raising this dog for somebody else. And, so it's after 3, I couldn't do anymore, but I'd rather give blood than my dog away now. So it just, anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, it's weird, because we started doing this. It's not because we know blind people. I didn't know any blind people, and And actually, I didn't really even, I thought about it and I thought, I really don't even know that many handicapped people. And, um, and so when I, first had to give my first guide dog away and I met Gary, and a nice young guy, he's probably in his 30s and went blind about age 12 or something like that. So he did have his sight for a while. And, but he's a real smart guy. And even after he's blind, he was able to go to college and get his law degree. He's a lawyer. That's pretty smart if you can become a lawyer and not be able to see. I guess a lot of books on tape or braille and oh my gosh. But anyways, is one of the first handicapped people that I met. Actually, I take that back. I knew a handicapped guy. One of my best friends growing up just lived a couple houses down from me. His dad had polio in both legs, and he had to walk with crutches or be in a wheelchair. And um, I remember one time. I really remember this. It's one time I was out with him because we were good friends, and we got back. He was driving, and we got back, and we get up to the house, and I guess his wife had unlocked the door and gone in, and he was getting out. He gets out a little slower because he's on crutches, and he comes up to the door, and I was there, so I held the door for him, and he looks at me, and goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm holding the door for you," and he goes, "What do you think I am, a woman? Get out of here!" And I thought, "What?" Okay, sorry. And then that made me realize that, see, handicapped people, they want to overcome their handicap, and they don't want pity or help from other people. They want to be able to do it on their own. I was going, hey, more power to them, and he was that way. He was like, you hold the door for a woman, you don't hold it for, but I guess you don't hold it for somebody that has a handicap, and or a guy that has a handicap. They can do it themselves. And that's kind of when I met Gary, and and we presented the dog to him, and it worked out real good. And I said, hey Gary, let us take you out for lunch. He said, okay, great, and so we took him out to lunch, and of course the dog went with us, and this was on our first dog, Langer. Langer was our first beautiful yellow lab, a guy. He was a playboy. That Langer, he was a chick magnet. He loved women, and all the women loved him. I don't know. Anyways, I was talking to Gary, and so at lunch, and I said, "Hey Gary, how's the dog working out for you? Because he'd only been up there for about a month, and uh, uh, being trained how to work the dog." And he said, "Oh yeah, this is great." He said, "It really, he really helps." And I was going, yeah, because he's guiding you around. He goes, "Well, yeah," but he said the main thing is, he says, I don't have to. He says it gives me more brain capacity because I don't have to remember as much stuff." And I was going, I don't, what? I don't understand where you're going. He said, well, he said, like let's say I didn't have a dog and I came into this restaurant. I know I have a handicap, but I want to be able to do it on my own. I don't want somebody to have to take me by the hand and guide me to the table. So I realize that when I come in here, I have to, okay, I take, I remember, okay, the door is right here. And if I came in and I turn left, and then I take 20 steps this way, and then I turn right and I take another 5 steps, that's where the table is. And then I to find the chair, and then I can sit down. And then I got to remember, okay, when I get up, I got to go 5 steps backwards this way, turn this way, and go 20 steps that way, and there will be the door. So I got to remember all that in my mind. He says, what I do is I have kind of like in my mind, I have like a chalkboard. And I said, a chalkboard in your mind? He goes, yeah. So I write this down on the chalkboard so I have to remember. And the chalkboard is only so big, you only can fill it up with so much before it's very hard to remember simple stuff like that. And he said, but with the dog, he said, I don't have to take up that portion on the chalkboard, because now with Langer, I could, he guides me to the table, and I don't have to count my steps, and then I don't have to memorize the steps. And when we're done, I just say Langer door, and then he takes me back to the door, so I know I'm going out, and that way I didn't have to, you know, beg other people for help. Help me find the door, because I realize that blind people and handicapped people, they don't like to ask for help. They want to overcome their handicap. More power to them. I was going, man, I mean, a lot of people ask for handouts, and here you got a handicapped guy who doesn't use his legs, and a guy that's blind. They're not asking for anything. And so that made an impression on my mind there. That's going, wow, these guys are strong people. And anyways, um, in this, when you work with the guide dogs for the blind, you got to get affiliated with, it's the foundation of where we were affiliated with was up in San Rafael, California. They had this big facility up there. It looks like a college when you go to it. They got offices and kennels and dormitories, nice grass grounds, and when you go on there, I thought I was on the college campus. I didn't hear any dogs barking, or I didn't smell any, there wasn't any poo on the ground, and you go to the office and you see these dormitories, because like what they do is they bring about 30 blind people in every month, and then they put them up in the dormitory for free. They feed them for free, and then during the day they get a dog with a personal trainer that walk around and teach them actually how to work with the dog on a harness. And all this is free for the blind people. This is great. So folks, if you want to give back, if you don't want to give blood, and you're looking for another charitable place to give money, I'd say the Guide Dogs for the Blind is a very well spent charity. Probably it's tax write-off too. So it just consider that, when you're giving your tithes and your offering, consider the Guide Dogs for the Blind, because it's really a big help for these guys. And because like when I gave Gary that dog, the dog to me was like one of my kids. It was like I was giving up one of my kids, and I said, well, gee, I can't just give you my kid without doing a follow-up on him and make sure you're treating him all right. Because if I find that you're not treating my kid or my dog all right, we're going to have some problems. So, and Gary lived in Baltimore, and so we flew out to Baltimore to see him a couple times. Actually, I flew out to see my cousins, and they got dogs, and then we drove up, and I called Gary and say, hey, we're in town, and we're over in Virginia, and you're just up in Baltimore. We'd like to take you out to lunch and see Langer again. And he said, sure, come on over. And I could see, he was really taking good care of Langer. He was getting brushed and fed well, and actually, another funny thing, I told Gary, I said, Gary, this dog here, Langer, he's a playboy. He's a chick magnet. I said, I'll bet you a cup of coffee that you're married within the first year. And he goes, oh, no. He said, I don't know any girls. He says, I'm overweight. I'm blind. How am I going to meet a girl, let alone be married? Sure enough, within a year, Langer met this girl for him, and they got married. Real nice gal. And she's not blind, and she loved Langer, which was good. So I could see that Langer was being well taken care of. So anyways, I want to continue this story because I didn't even get to my other two dogs, and but I don't want to go way over on this. But I did want to kind of talk a little bit about the handicap and overcoming your handicap, which is a very impressive thing. What is an impressive thing for me? So anyways, I hope this made you happy, and I hope Gary sees this, listens to it, and finds me on the YouTube and responds. Hey Gary, say hi to Langer for me. Okay, see ya.